Greetings everyone. Welcome to the ongoing series Making of Contemporary India. Today the topic of discussion would be Innovation and Technology in Independent India. In this lecture, I shall be taking up a brief overview of the significance of science and technology in India's history. We would also talk about importance of understanding the historical context for present day advancements. When we talk about science and technology, it is not something that started happening in 18th, 19th or 20th century. In fact, if we go back to early times, that is ancient India, and we talk about pre-1000 BCE period, then one can refer to great civilizations like Indus Valley civilization, which is known for its remarkable urban planning, sewage systems and trade networks. Also, early India has made great contributions to the field of mathematics, the concept of zero, decimal system and Vedic mathematics. In the field of Ayurveda also, the ancient system of medicine and holistic healing has been very important. When we talk about the classical era from 1000 BCE onwards to 500 CE, then one can talk about scientific achievements in the field of astronomy, Aryabhata's calculations, Surya Siddhant and astronomical observations. In the field of mathematics, Brahmagupta's work on algebra and trigonometry has been very significant and path breaking. In the field of medicine and surgery, Sushruta's treatise on medical procedures is truly remarkable. Coming to the so-called golden age from 500 to 1500 CE, which also includes the period of early medieval in India, there were definite contributions that were made to mathematics, number systems, decimal system, Bhaskara's work on calculus, great contributions in the field of Indian metallurgy, advanced techniques in iron and steel production, in the field of architecture, intricate temple designs, which definitely involved scientific calculations behind the entire construction process. Coming to medieval period from 1500 to 1750 CE, there were great developments in indigenous systems of medicine with reference to Unani as well as Ayurveda system. Mughal architecture definitely created monuments that were an engineering marvel because of great precision that was needed in construction of dome, arches, minarets, etc. And we have a number of examples other than Taj Mahal also. Great contributions were made to optics and light. In this, Kerala School of Astronomy and Mathematics made huge advances. Coming to colonial era from 1750s to 1947, here one can make a passing reference to British influence on science and technology. With the introduction of English language and modern system of education in India from mid-19th century, there were some advancements that were made in the field of science and technology. There was rise of Indian scientific institutions, for example, Indian Institution for the Cultivation of Science and later on Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. There were some early contributions to space science also with the launch of Aryabhat satellite. However, the colonial preference was not so much for inculcating science, technology or research in the minds of Indians, because they were more into creating clerical staff who could provide them service at very cheap rates. Coming to post-independence era from 1947 onwards, one can talk about Indian Space Program, ISRO's achievements in satellite launches and Mars orbiter mission. Then nuclear energy was another very crucial sector which was important for harnessing nuclear power that was needed in order to fulfill the demands of rising population as well as expanding industry for more and more power generation. Then information technology and software services. In this, one can mention rise of Indian IT industry and how there has been a global impact. If we talk about the current developments, then the emerging areas of focus have been biotechnology, nanotechnology, renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and the list is endless. There have been several government initiatives to promote scientific research as well as innovation. There have been a number of collaborations and partnerships with international organizations also. Coming to the field of scientific research, combined with favorable public policies, all this has made India self-sufficient in production of basic items of food, milk, fruits, vegetables, drugs and vaccines. And this situation can very well be compared to colonial times or even for few years after independence, when India was heavily dependent on import of even essential items. All this has had great social and economic impact also and has touched the lives of ordinary Indians. There have been many developments in communications and information technology which has enabled timely forecast of weather and early warning of cyclones, saving thousands of lives. So, how come all this has happened? These are all the results of investments that were made in scientific research soon after independence, and also a network that had started developing between science and politics even in the decades prior to these achievements were made. Investment in scientific research was 0.1% of GNP in 1947, but in less than a decade it went up to 0.5%. Scientists like Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar, Homi Jehangir Bhabha and Prasanta Chandra Mahalanobi not only built scientific institutions, but they also helped shape policies, thereby influencing the political ideas of those times. It was, however, the vision of first Prime Minister of independent India, Jawaharlal Nehru, and the need of India at that time that led to the foundation of Indian Institute of Technology in 1950, merely after 3 years of independence. These institutes, with assistance from international institutes, promoted the cause of research and innovation in India. Nehru aimed to inculcate the scientific temper among the Indians, and according to Nehru, science was not only an individual's search for truth, it was something infinitely more than that if it worked for the community. So therefore, Nehru's vision was more about the benefit for maximum, the benefit for the entire community, and not merely search for reasoning or search for the ultimate truth. He also aimed to convert India's economy into that of a modern state, and also to make her ready for all the challenges that could come in near future due to the dynamics of the world politics. So, with these aims in mind, the Department of Scientific Research and Natural Resources was also set up by him. The Council of Scientific and Industrial Research (CSIR) also expanded during this time due to the initiation of Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar, who is also known as the father of Indian research laboratories. There were many developments that were made in the field of defense technology. Again, this had to be done because of vulnerable India-China and India-Pakistan border, which were of grave concern for India. So, it was important to secure borders and to imbibe more advanced defense technology than was present at that time. So, the Defence Research and Development Organization DRDO was set up in 1958 with these specific aims in mind. After its formation, it has developed several large programs and essential technology, including that of aircraft, small and large arms, artillery systems, electronic warfare systems, tanks and armored vehicles, sonar systems, command and control systems, as well as missile systems. Next very important arena that can be talked about is that of development in the nuclear energy sector, which had its origin in India as early as 1944. Dr. Homi Bhabha approached Tata Trust, and with their financial support, TIFR was founded in Mumbai. This institute conducted a number of studies in the field of cosmic rays, physics, nuclear energy, and finally, it was in 1954, after independence, that DAE, that is Department of Atomic Energy, was established by the Government of India. And as a result of investment in this sector, India successfully tested the first nuclear bomb in 1974 under the guidance of nuclear physicist Raja Ramanna at Pokhran. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam described the nuclear power as the gateway to a prosperous future. India is currently suffering from several kinds of shortages, especially electricity shortages, but these shortages also are being dealt with because of investment in nuclear energy. Still, a large number of population needs regular supply of electricity. To meet the rising demand, the country will need to produce even more power because the economy is expanding, the population is growing. Energy supplies are getting exhausted in order to satisfy the existing demand. So, therefore, there is a need to produce more energy for a more prosperous future, and this electric energy can very well be generated from the heat generated by nuclear fission. Next very important sector that can be discussed is that of space technology. For more advanced scientific research, with the help of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, the Indian Space Research Organization (ISRO) was set up in 1969. Aryabhat, which was the first Indian satellite, was launched by Soviet Union in 1975. After this, a number of projects were conducted and completed. For example, several space projects, Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, and recently Chandrayaan 3 is being worked at. So, Chandrayaan 3 and Gaganyaan missions are very important projects, as you can see in this visual. This is the Chandrayaan Gaganyaan space station, and this shows Chandrayaan 3 mission countdown. Another very important sector where science and technology has played a very important role in modernizing India is that of telecommunications. It was in 1985 that DOT, that is Department of Telecommunications, was set up, and public call offices, that is PCOs, were introduced, and there was an unprecedented expansion of telephone network. This also includes the emergence of information technology industry in India. So there was no looking back from 1950s onwards with the establishment of IITs. There was establishment of Software Technology Park of India, STPI, in 1990s. C-dot and telecom revolution have played a very important role. For example, earlier telecom sector also was dependent on supplies from multinational corporations, but this involved very high costs, as well as due to shortage of foreign exchange, new technology could not come in easily. The switching technology was considered strategic and only a handful of companies possessed it. The waiting period for a telephone line in India in the 1970s was several years, and connectivity in rural areas was quite poor. But all this changed with C-dot and telecommunications. In fact, an attempt was made to develop an indigenous electronic exchange at Telecom Research Center in 1960s, and the first breakthrough came almost 10 years later when a 100-line electronic switch was developed in 1973. It was around the same time that TIFR scientists, along with the faculty and students and researchers from IIT Bombay, developed a digital automatic electronic switch for the army. These efforts were further expanded in 1984 when the government established C-dot, that is Center for Development of Telematics, by pooling scientific teams from TRC and TIFR under the leadership of Sam Pitroda. The rural telephone exchange developed by Indians could work under harsh conditions and without air conditioning. The technology developed in public sector was transferred for free to private companies, ending the monopoly of multinational giants and rapidly connecting India's rural areas also. This was nothing short of a revolution. C-dot exchange became popular in several developing countries and thereby benefited not only India but several other developing nations. So, if we talk about IT revolution, then railway computerization also was very important. The data processing industry in India during the decades after the independence was dominated largely by two multinationals. These were IBM and ICL. The data processing machines of these two firms were largely used in the government, public sector, armed forces, as well as research institutes. These companies brought old and discarded machines to India and leased them at high rentals. So, India needed latest computers for applications like national sample surveys, nuclear reactor development and several other research initiatives. and there was also a need to break the monopoly of big companies and also to encourage indigenous software and hardware development. So, with these aims, the Department of Electronics was established in 1970. Public sector companies like Electronics Corporation of India Limited, ECIL, and Computer Maintenance Corporation, CMC, as well as several state electronics development corporations were established. And the skills and the knowledge that were developed in these institutes were later on transferred to private industry. And the first major application of information technology was the passenger reservation project of the railways that was launched in 1986. It was the largest such project which demonstrated how technology can improve efficiency, it can cut corruption and also positively impact the lives of millions without the need for them owning a digital gadget. Then one can also discuss several advancements that were made in medical and health sciences, in preventing and treating several dangerous diseases. Smallpox has been eradicated, then treatment of diseases like tuberculosis, malaria, filariasis, goiter and cancer has also considerably improved. Research also is being carried out to control communicable diseases. Several research based activities have already increased life expectancy and death rate has declined, while several schemes like the immunization program have greatly reduced infant mortality. So, with all these achievements that have happened over past several decades, we can truly feel proud for all that has been achieved. Thank you.